So there are a couple of ways to get to it, right? So from this stack button for menu, right, we have here renew certification button, right? And if you go there, the first thing I want to say is as soon as you get the official email from us, right, from CCHI, saying this is your score, you passed, what happens in your CCHI online profile is that very moment that you get that email, you already have a renewal application available there. So technically, the next day you can start filling out renewal application. And we truly encourage you, I mean, maybe not next day, but start it early, because this is where you can store your certificates, because we ask you to upload each document as it happens. And then if you lose your physical document, you still already have the electronic copy there, right, in that application. And you think like, well, you know, I truly encourage you, like you attended the conference, you attended the webinar, as soon as you get your certificate, upload it to your profile, because you don't know what could happen and how it can get lost. Now, as far as the process itself, right, we require two things. One is your work experience. And the work experience, if you are a staff interpreter or if you're a Spanish interpreter, is very easy. We're asking for 40 hours over 40 years, right? Obviously, you work more than that. But the reason it's 40 hours is for some languages, like Chuukese, we were talking about earlier, maybe they will only work 40 hours, right? So, because it's a rare language. Anyway, your work experience. For work experience, we encourage you to have the documentation. It could be a letter from your employer. Let's say if you're a staff person, I would say at the end of the first year, after your renewal started, ask your manager to write to you a letter saying like, hey, she worked at our hospital for this year and at least 40 hours as medical interpreter. If you're a freelancer, if you're working with a company that can issue you that letter, that's great. If it cannot issue you that letter, then collect a couple of verifications of appointments, attending an appointment. You can block out the names of the patients and hospital, but some documentation that you submit to your, if it's electronic or, screenshots would work too, but something that will have your name, the date, and the hours that you were interpreting for this. As soon as you hit 40, you're done as a freelancer. We don't need more. Now, all these documents, the good thing is you don't need to upload with the application, but we do random audit of X% of applications, so we may ask you to email you to that. We give you about a month to collect all that, but usually, especially if you're freelancer, you change jobs, you won't go back to that person to ask you. So as you work, I would collect the first 40 hours of work, get somebody write you a statement, and you're done with that requirement. The second requirement is continuing education. And here we have a little bit, more interesting requirements here. So there are, Mary, you're Spanish, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll stick with Spanish for now. If there's somebody else here for other languages, I'll explain that to them a little bit more. But so it's 32 hours over 40 years. Obviously, we think that you will be splitting
4
it.
years.
4 years. 4 years. Yeah. We hope that you'll be splitting it evenly between 4 years. But I'm also a human person, and I know that 32 hours could happen in the first month after you get certified, or in the last month when you truly need to submit the application. We have no limit. So whenever you get it, you get it. It's 32 hours, doesn't matter when. Out of those 32 hours, you need to make sure that you have at least 4 that we call performance-based. And that's thing which you need to really focus on, because those are the hardest to find right now, right? So what is performance-based? Here we have this blue bar saying performance-based training, and we explain all that. So think of it, performance, what we tested you on the exam, on the oral exam, was consecutive, simultaneous, sight, and written translation. Any topic which specifically addressed that, where you had to do it, not worked as an interpreter, but you had a trainer or an online course that asked you to interpret consecutively, simultaneously, do sight translation, that's performance-based. If, for example, you had a nice workshop where you were broken down into groups and they talk about ethical scenarios and then you said something, that's not performance-based. We truly mean you doing that, interpreting under the supervision of a human trainer or an online training program that asked you to do this and then you got your score, that kind of stuff. Now, you can do more than 4. You don't have to stop at 4. All 32 hours could be performance-based. With one exception for translation, because it's a written skill, we only allow 8 hours. But for sight or consecutive or simul, it could be all 32 hours. And here are the example of what are non-performance-based. Those are easy to come by. A lot of webinars, including free ones, are about those topics. So the important part about the next step important about the continuing education is documentation. We truly don't care what it looks like as long as you have this, your name on it. You know how sometimes you attend something, they give you the paper certificate that is blank? Put your name right away before you leave that premise because you'll forget in your upload and we will return it back to you. Yes, we know obviously you didn't find it in the street, but we still want to be fair to everybody. So it has to have your name, has to have your topic, has to have the who gave you the training, the date, and the hours. Now, if you're a staff interpreter and you work a lot with the intranet-based trainings, they often issue you certificates for HIPAA training, compliance with different things, and they have 0 hours. They just have the topic and they said you successfully completed it. We do not accept that. But what you could do, you grab that thing, go to your manager and say, hey, I completed it. You know it was 30 minutes or whatever it is in your system. Please write it here and sign, and we'll accept that. Or ask your manager, could you send me an email saying that that topic was 30 minutes? And then you'll upload your certificate and the email from your manager, and we'll accept that. And that's what I mean, like we really don't care how it comes to us. We just want to have this documentation that you did that. Now, what I want to also point out is how do you upload? We accept only PDF or image things. You know, when worst comes to worst, you have a phone, take a picture of the document, or if it is on the screen, take a picture of that screen with your phone and upload that. Again, we don't really, we're not picky, but we need to be able to open it. The safe formats are PDF and image. Documents like doc or anything else we don't open on purpose because they could have some virus in them. Those 2 formats are only accepted. Now, the other thing I want to go a little bit back to this page of renewal is what are the topics? We have a very extensive list of topics here. And what I want, like you see, like here for each thing that these are like, if you click on this, it is ultimately whatever we said our test is about, like for written exam and for oral exam, any topic that fits that will be accepted. And I want you to understand that our registrar has, Yami has this, principle is the more things I can accept, the happier I am, right? So we try to accommodate as many things because it's in our interest to have as many certified interpreters as possible. So we're not trying not to accept something. However, the limitations are if you have more than 28 hours on these general topics and have no 4 performance-based hours, that's the #1 reason why people do not get their application approved. The good news is, because we're also human beings, we understand life happens, we usually give you some grace period. In the day and age of a lot of online trainings, that grace period is pretty much no more than 30 days. But keep that in mind, that if something happens. Now, we also love to hear from you ahead of time. If, let's say, your renewal date is in April of this year, and you know that for some reason you will be tied up and you still need 4 hours and you will not be able to get those 4 hours, email us now and tell us, and we will then see if we can extension. Like these things happen, you get relocated to a new job, your spouse is in the military and you're relocated to another country. There are many reasons why you may not have the opportunity to do it, but even if you know it happened a day before, let us know ahead of time, because then your chances of us giving you a grace period and you not being stressed out are higher than if you just simply submit something that doesn't meet the criteria and you're rejected right away. You need to look for training that in their title will have will practice simultaneous interpreting for pediatrics, right? Or we will include let's say palliative care with the practice of consecutive interpreting for palliative care. So that's what the training needs to have either in the title or in the description an statement saying that you will be practicing.